Everybody's microphone has to be on, please.
Gotcha, sorry. Have a roll call, please.
Richard Weiner, present.
Candace Basoli, present.
Jeff Carhart, present.
Thank you. The proposed of this meeting is to hear a request of a variance and a conditional use. If at any time anyone who wishes to speak at this meeting, please stand for the oath, and following the oath, remain standing and give your name and address so it can be heard, please. Please raise your right hand. Do you here solemnly declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the responses given and the statements made will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Please state your name and your address to the court, please.
James Rush, address is 469.
Mr. Rush, sorry, can you just step up to the microphone? We're being recorded, so you have to be on microphone for everything. Oop, it's already on.
Am I live?
Yep.
Okay. James Rush, address is 469 Commerce Street, here in Havre, Grace.
You?
Tim Borsier, Director of Planning, 711 Pennington Avenue, Havre de Grace.
Yes.
Eric Lawrence, Associate City Planner, 711 Pennington Avenue.
Thank you. The codified zoning ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace specifies procedures governing the operation of the Board of Appeals of the city. Section 3 dictates administrative requirements to be met prior to the hearing. This includes advertising, posting of property, and a notification of applicable property owners. Mr. Brossier, have these requirements been met?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Lawrence, okay. Have you received any response?
No.
Thank you. The ordinance governing the operation of the Board of Appeals for the city is a matter of public record and is available at City Hall should anyone wish to review it. The applicant tonight is requesting a conditional use of a duplex.
Variance.
And
We can do that one first.
There's two separate cases tonight, so it's the same applicant, but
Oh,
two different issues at two different addresses.
okay, I thought we were just dealing with one. I do apologize.
Do this one first, that's fine.
So we have a conditional use. And 539 is a commercial freestanding variance. Okay. Mr. Bouchier, do you have anything from any public comment? Or Mr. Lawrence?
No, we do not.
In the event the board receives a request for conditional use or special exception under the terms of the city ordinance, the board shall give consideration to the specific property as well as the neighborhood, and we are holding a hearing to provide with all testimony and data submitted. Okay, let's go on to the first commercial variance. You want to please give forth the Planning Commission
Oh,
report?
yes, thank you. Case number 539. The project is for a commercial freestanding sign variance. As you previously stated, there is a staff report is available publicly by request for the public. The Department of Planning has reviewed the findings and has determined that there is no unique circumstances or hardship present within that. The Department of Planning recommends denial of the variance. If the Board of Appeal finds that want to approve of the variance, the Department of Planning recommends a few conditions, and I will read them. The proposed, however, should the Board of Appeal approve the variance request, the Department of Planning recommends the minimum relief necessary for the applicant to maintain the intent of relevant city code in addition to the following conditions listed below. 1, the proposed freestanding sign must comply with 151-18B1, with the exception of 10 feet from the base of the sign, not to exceed 15 feet in height from the adjacent grade, and shall not exceed 32 square feet of sign surface area. Condition number 2, the Department of Planning recommends a pylon, a monument-style freestanding sign to be located on the subject's property, and the proposed freestanding sign shall be in harmony with the character of the commercial district as intended in 151-1. To ensure that the architecture of the sign is in harmonious in color, form, proportion, and to the use in the building on the property on which it is located. Condition number 3, the proposed freestanding sign shall not adversely affect traffic in terms of safety, accessibility, and connectivity. In addition to maintaining sufficient sight distance as required by Hartford County Road Code to enable proper safe maneuvers and a part of ingress and egress for the drivers turning into and out of the entrance or obstructing sight triangles. Thank you. I'm open for any questions.
Thank you.
Yep. I just have one thing to add, because I'm not sure if you were here last time, Chair. After the meeting, we discussed, we were starting to give presentations and put together PowerPoints and that sort of thing. And it was asked to us if we could make these sessions a little bit more abbreviated because we were providing everybody these materials in advance. So in the past, we've read in the entire staff report. Eric's done a very good job of putting the staff report together. So we're just kind of hitting the highlights of what's in the staff report. So if there's any questions, we'll let you know. But I just want to bring you up to speed that the presentations will be a little bit more abbreviated, but all the content and everything was in that Google Drive file and in the staff report that was sent to you guys a couple days ago.
Okay, so we do not have to read it here, in other words.
No, because it's been submitted as part of the public record, and it's available to everybody online, it doesn't fully need to be read in. It's part of the legal record. So yeah, we're kind of hitting the highlights of it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to ask us. But all the information is in the staff report. We're just giving abbreviated presentations now.
Thank you very much for bringing me up to code.
You're welcome.
We'll now hear testimony from the applicant, please. Please remember to state your name and your address for the record before you start to speak. And the board members may ask any questions after the presentation. First heard from the planning, now we hear from the applicant.
Sure. James Rush, 469 Commerce Street, right here in Havre de Grace. Appreciate you guys taking the time to hear this case tonight. Feel a little bit bad being the only guy on the agenda. I assume that means you would have had the night off otherwise. But at least we're going to kill two at once. I'm not spreading them out. Yeah, so just want to introduce myself to you. My name is Jim Rush. James, but I go by Jim. My wife is Tamara Rush. We just moved to town 3 years ago. Bought a property down on Commerce. And since then, we've also invested in other properties here in Havre de Grace. We moved our company business up on the Pulaski, which is what we're talking about right now. Put a lot of money into fixing it up. If you're ever around, I would love to have folks from the city pop in and see what we've done inside. It's pretty cool. We're right next to the Super 8. So what we're looking to do, obviously, is to advertise our company and our presence, not only for us, but we also have a tenant in the back, in our back building. Think Big, the guys who are putting fiber here in town. So we're Havre de Grace, little Silicon Valley. And we want to make sure that folks know that we're here because we're proud to be here. We moved to this city, brought our family here because we love Havre de Grace. You know, we invest in the community, time, and volunteering and stuff with all the events and everything that goes on in town. So we're happy to be here, and we have it's not a unique situation entirely, but we do have extenuating circumstances with respect to the code for these signs. If you've driven along that corridor, and I understand and respect what the city's trying to do. We want to make things look nice and not all over the place, right? Right now, things are all over the place as far as signage up and down 40 there. But the sign that we're trying to put up, you know, to advertise essentially two technology companies that have, you know, are investing here in Havre de Grace, just to make it look good and be visible for folks to see from the road. You know, with the setback from the highway and the trees that line, you know, if you do the drive there, every little bit of height that we can get is going to help. Plus, honestly, I've got pictures of the signs that, you know, so again, we keep everything local. We're working with Pollitt Signs here in town. They've done some mock-ups. I think it just looks better. You know, the signage faces are the same, whether we keep it small or just go up an extra 5 feet, but the additional visibility from the road is really what we're looking to do. And I think personally it just looks better. That's an aesthetic thing. So I certainly respect what the city's trying to do as far as keeping everything uniform. Our finished product is going to obviously be new. It's going to look really good, and it's certainly going to be a far cry from what some of the other signage up and down 40 looks like. So I would very much appreciate consideration in granting this variance so that we can put the sign up that we want to. I can keep my tenant happy, keep the CEO of 10X Technologies happy, and you know, obviously just continue to invest in the city and improve the look up and down the Route 40 corridor. If you have any questions for me, let me know.
Any questions?
Other than what's, we've already been made aware of, is there anything that would obstruct your sign if it were at the current allowable height?
So as you're traveling south on 40, you know, you go past what used to be the Bayou, and then you got the Super 8. I think the city owns the trees, but I'm not positive. There's trees that obscure visibility of a sign that's that far off the road. If we can raise it a little bit higher, that's going to help visibility so that right now, if we have a shorter sign, you probably can't see it until you're almost on top of our driveway. You know, to get perfect visibility, you'd have to go 40 feet, right? And I'm not interested in that. I don't want to sign the height of the Super 8, but every little bit helps. And again, I think it just kind of looks better because we're advertising 2 companies at once, so it's a double sign. And when you shrink that down to 10 feet, it just looks kind of weird. Personal opinion. Happy to share the pictures of the 2 mock-ups if you want.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
be great if you could.
All right, so. The shorter.
Okay.
The taller one. So that's the one we want to put up.
You got there with the plan
Size
for
of the
scale.
signs is the same. Just a little bit taller. Extra copies of the stubby one if you want.
Oh, you guys only have the tall one?
Yeah, we only have the tall.
And I should add that all the stipulations that the planning commission put forth, we'd already discussed all those. I think we check all the boxes that if you were to grant the variance, we certainly would comply with the signage and all the other listed items.
That was the only question I had. If you guys have anything.
What are you going to do when the trees grow?
Well, at that point, I'm done. I don't know. So, actually, I don't even know what kind of trees they are. I don't really know what their mature height is going to be.
Any other questions?
I've got a question. It says sign to be installed on a 6-inch pipe, but it looks like it's on I guess it's surrounded by this square.
Yes, that's what they call it, cladding or skirt. It's not structural. It just looks good.
To dress up.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Anything else? The board will now take a recess so that we can discuss the testimony and arrive at decision regarding this request. Thank you. And we're going in at We're waiting for him to. Okay. All right. All right, we're now ready to hear a motion.
I offer the motion that we grant the variance with the conditions listed, with the stipulation that everyone listening to this realizes this is a site-specific granting of a variance and is not intended in any way to circumvent the existing ordinances in the city of Havre de Grace. But we are basing our decision exclusively on the site and conditions of this particular request.
Have a vote, please. All those in favor?
I'll second it.
Seconded, I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Thank you. Variance has been granted.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Now we will move on to the second request, case number 540, conditional use. If you would like to state your name again, please.
Sure. Still James Rush, 469 Commerce Street in Havre de Grace.
Okay. And we're going to forego the planning commission report. Go ahead if you would like to.
Sure. So we recently invested in a property down on Weber Street, and it's one of those old Army, used to be duplexes. In that neighborhood, a lot of people have combined them into single-family homes or built them up, that kind of thing. So very similar story here. At one point, this had been expanded out to include an attached garage with a fully furnished apartment above it. What we are asking the committee to consider is our request to use it as two separate residences for rental purposes. One of the units is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. The other is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Both have kitchens, laundry facilities, all that kind of stuff. So independent entrances. When we bought the property, they were attached by a door, but we're proposing to eliminate that, insulate that between the two properties so that they are fully separate. That's about it.
Any questions?
What I hear and what I'm reading, basically, the structure is going to stay the same pretty much as it already is?
Yes, aside from doing just basic upgrades, because it's an old house.
Okay.
We had to do some repair on the existing deck. Electrical, another example, we use local vendors for everything. We're using River City Electrical, if anybody knows Gordy. So yeah, we're doing some upgrades, improving it, but other than that, we're not throwing up any walls or building a second story or doing anything. So we're just making sure that both units are accessible to two different families, and that they have, we are splitting the utilities so that the electric is metered independently between the two. That's the one big thing that we had to do.
Okay. Is there currently people living in both?
There's nobody in either unit at this point in time.
Okay.
We do have a tenant lined up for the 4-bedroom unit right now, but we're waiting for approval to move forward.
And is parking in and around the area sufficient?
Yes, it's ample. So actually, both units are going to end up having a garage and a driveway each, and then of course there's street parking. So without even utilizing street parking, I think the people that live here can easily get 6 cars off the street. So that's not going to be an issue.
That
Two off-street parking spaces are required per unit for existing construction and 3 for new construction, so it meets even our most stringent.
Roger that. Okay, that's all I have.
Question. Electric will be separate on this. They'll have 2 separate addresses.
Yes.
Water and sewer, is that common?
It is. Well, other than they have independent shutoffs, they are metered the same, so that's going to be something that I pay, out of rent. So water and sewer, there's nothing
Okay, once it's out of the meter, it splits in two independent shut-offs to each side.
Yeah,
Once it's through the meter.
2 different shut-offs just for maintenance and safety. If we need to shut off the water to Unit A to do some repairs, we can do that without impacting the folks who are in Unit B. But there's only one water meter.
And I see your attachment 5, full firewall?
There is a full firewall that goes up and down between the two. There's no venting or piping going through between the two facilities at all. So.
Is that existing or to be done?
No, it's existing with the exception of the fact I said that there was a door.
That's permanently being,
Yeah, so that's just being removed and properly built out with the fire-rated gypsum and all that stuff.
okay.
Any other? Good. The board is now going into recess at 6:52. Sorry, watch is not good. Seven o'clock. Do I have a motion on the proposed variance?
I propose the motion that we accept the recommendations of the Planning Commission and approve this variance.
I'll second that.
All
Sorry,
those in-
sorry, one second. This is for a conditional use approval. Yep, not a variance. Yeah, just wanted to make sure that we had that in the correct on the
No.
record. Thank you.
Good catch.
Go ahead and
I'll still
restate the
second
motion.
it.
Still second it.
Restate the motion.
I want to present the motion that we accept the planning recommendations as stated for this conditional use.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Carried in a landslide.
Appreciate your time.
All right. The Board of Appeals is adjourning at 7:01.